Most of you parents have bought books for your children before, but have you ever thought about who writes those books? Next up, Tammy Arender profiles a children's book author in Franklin who also happens to be a TV weatherman.
Tim Ross is a unique individual. He spends most of his afternoons and evenings here in the Weather Center preparing maps for his evening broadcast. He's the weather forecaster for Fox News at 9 in Nashville. But what many folks don't know is this witty weatherman loves to take his vivacious personality into elementary schools, all to share his love for writing. These second and third graders at Hunters Bend Elementary in Franklin have no idea what they're in for today. Weatherman Tim Ross is fast becoming a famous children's author. But before he shares his literary genius, he shares a little bit about his childhood.
You know what my principal told me one day? He says, Tim Ross, boy, he stuck his finger out and about shook my nose, you know. Says, Tim Ross, you're never going to make a good living goofing off and talking too much. And you know what? I'm on TV every night goofing off and talking too much and making a good living. It's great.
Tim also loves to talk about his bloopers. The kids can't help but laugh when he tells the story of his pants splitting on live television.
There's the back of my pants. Thank goodness for double stitching.
After getting loads of laughs from his broadcasting stories, he turns the kids on to his latest passion, writing. That hobby all started with his love of reading, which didn't take hold of his heart until he was 43.
When I am in the classrooms and, kids, I didn't start reading and writing until I was 43. I see the teachers go, oh, don't tell them that. I said, but I sure wish I had.
Tim's love for reading opened a whole new world for him. He then learned he liked to write poetry. Funny, silly poetry.
A busy bee buzzes till bees go back south. A busy bee buzzes ne'er using his mouth. A busy bee buzzes, but I really wonder how a busy bee buzzes his busy bee buzzer. Children's books are fun. I'm kind of I don't know. I'm not a real serious person. I like to enjoy life, and I like kids' books. I like the rhyming. I like the nonsense of them. It just matches my my mental state most of the time, I think. True.
When Tim realized he had a mental state for rhyming, he took on the pseudonym of Professor Wigglesticks. He's written hundreds of little poems, but now he's written his biggest project to date, which is on bookstore shelves all over the country.
Well, here's one I'm real proud of. It's already on the library shelves. It's a book called Brewster the Rain-Making Rooster.
Brewster the Rain-Making Rooster is a tale of a chicken that can forecast the weather. And this rooster helps someone named Weatherman Tim. Who else?
Folks say he's a rooster of unusual variety, one destined to climb to some high notoriety. Books are great. Yeah, and kids' books are just, there's a magic to them that there isn't in anything else for me. Long about sunrise.
There's another element to Tim's story. He may write the words to his poetry, but what about the pictures that go with them? Tim's brother, Scott, is the illustrator, and this is how they do their collaborating, by computer.
Really, my process here is I will write things and then I'll send them to him, especially when I'm doing poetry things, shorter things. I'll write little lines and send them to him, and then he'll develop graphics to go with them.
Scott is on a computer in Tampa, Florida, while Tim is on his in Franklin, Tennessee. The two go back and forth through a high-speed cable modem. Tim only sends the lyrics, no ideas for what he has pictured for his characters. That's strictly up to Scott. Tim is already working on his next 5 books by Professor Wigglesticks, and Scott has sent the artwork. Now Tim knows what his characters like Bruce the Goose or Bucky the Beaver look like. The brothers have total respect for one another.
There is no crossover. I need him. He needs me. We need each other. Yeah, because we can't. Our talents are completely separate. Weatherman Tim came right to the phone, and the farmer's son Paul quickly drove his point home. Paul told the
Being a children's book author hasn't been a lifelong dream, but it's certainly something that gives Tim a lot of satisfaction. He knows he's impacting hundreds of young lives and maybe giving them the only smiles they'll get in their school day. And now he's addicted to handing out those smiles.
It took me 43 years to find my favorite hobby. But now that I found it, I go at it with a vengeance. It's fun. I love it. I have to do it. And Weatherman Tim flashed a bright TV grin because his forecasts were right again and again.